Alrighty, everybody. It looks like we have everybody that was at least in the waiting room at the start here, and I will keep that open. I'm sure some more people will be joining as we go along here. But thanks everybody for joining us for this kind of impromptu to an extent special guest workshop. So although we scheduled this a couple weeks ago, I want to let you guys know that this is something that we are going to be doing a little more here at Audience Lab, monthly or every other month, bringing in an outside expert that has a skill set or an expertise and maybe something that we don't teach a whole ton of. I mean, you guys know we do a little bit of LinkedIn training and stuff like that on other workshops. There's some stuff in the curriculum, but I don't feel like we have enough content in terms of everything that basically Ayesha is going to cover here today. So, guys, if you're not sure or haven't heard or weren't quite familiar, I didn't get too in depth with my post, but Ayesha Ameer is our expert guest speaker today. And Ayesha, why don't you just start off with telling people a little about yourself, your background, and what you're here to deliver today in terms of value?
Yeah, perfect. So I'm Ayesha Ameer. I run a LinkedIn personal branding agency called Mentoria Digitals. Essentially, what we do is we help individuals grow on LinkedIn. So founders and executives who want to grow on LinkedIn and, of course, want to make money through LinkedIn. So we do coaching where we guide individuals on how to do that. And then we also provide done for you services where we basically do it for them. And then in this session today, I'm going to give you guys like the tips that we use for our clients and just give it away to all of you so that you can use them. And then if you ever need any help from me, you can contact me on LinkedIn and we can go from there. But, we're going to learn how to make money through LinkedIn and how to optimize your profile, how to do your engagement, your content, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a big benefit. A lot of our clients are on LinkedIn. A lot of them are using LinkedIn. I recommend those that aren't yet using LinkedIn for outreach, for a DaaS agency. I think you guys should be. I think LinkedIn for social media is probably the highest caliber targeting platform for good B2B deals. I'm not saying you can't get results on other social media platforms, but I certainly think LinkedIn is where it's at. And another thing you'll be seeing with Audience Lab and our content curriculum, even going back to Adam's last workshop, which had a lot to do with LinkedIn, we're going to be gearing a lot more toward LinkedIn, outreach, LinkedIn optimization. But you said something very good there, Ayesha. Showing people how to make money with their LinkedIn account, and that's what we want help with. That's what everybody's looking to do. That is in our DaaS program. So yeah, why don't you just get started? And guys, if you have questions as we go, either type them in the chat or jot them down and save them. Ayesha is definitely saving time for a Q&A at the end of this call, at the end of this presentation. So again, if you came here with a specific question, jot it in the chat or type it in the chat or jot it down. Or as she's going, I'm sure some questions are going to come up. And I'm going to ask her and kind of play off of her and ask some questions back. But we're definitely going to save some time for a Q&A at the end. But just to be mindful of everybody's time and make sure we can get through this, why don't you just start diving right into what you'd love to cover here, Ayesha?
Perfect. That sounds good. What I'll do is I'll share my screen so you guys can see my presentation and then we'll go from there. Right, let me know if you can see this over here.
Yep, we can see it now.
Perfect. Just going to set that up.
And as you're setting
Can
this
you
up,
see it in presentation
one
form
more
now?
thing, Aisha, that might be great for a little context. Why don't you? How many followers do you have on LinkedIn, and how long did it take you to get there? How long have you been on LinkedIn? I just think that's cool for everybody to know and kind of important.
I have around about, I think right now, 74,000 followers on LinkedIn. I've been doing LinkedIn for, I would say, around 3 years now. So initially, I didn't have my agency. We weren't helping individuals grow on LinkedIn. And then I was doing a marketing apprenticeship at the time. Then I was looking at what options should I do next. And then I kind of really went into LinkedIn. And, the last 2.5 years, just been fully into it. We've helped people from IKEA, from Emirates, from Louis Vuitton, so many major companies. We've helped executives from those companies grow on LinkedIn. and of course founders as well, so that they can make money through LinkedIn. That's a bit of a background into everything.
Awesome. So about 2.5 years going at it hard and 75,000-ish followers. That's actually pretty impressive. So excellent, excellent. I'd love you to run through how you did that and show us what you do with your clients, and hopefully some people on this call can kind of replicate that kind of success.
Perfect. That sounds good. So can you see this over here?
Yep. Turning your LinkedIn
Awesome.
channel into turning your LinkedIn into an acquisition channel. Yes.
Yeah. So essentially, I'm going to help you with driving pipeline through LinkedIn because we want to make money through the platform. A lot of individuals will be posting on the platform. They'll get the likes and the views, and they'll get dopamine hits from all of the impressions because so many individuals will be looking at their content. But the issue is they won't be making money from the platform. So what we want is to make sure that you are getting pipeline through the platform. So a little bit of an introduction. I already gave an introduction, but a little bit more about myself is we've helped 150 plus founders and executives grow their personal brand on LinkedIn. And there's 74,000 people that follow me, and they're doing the same with me every single day. I post like 6 times a week, so I'm always sharing advice from the platform. And we turn visibility into clients through clarity, positioning, and authentic content. There's a lot involved in that, which I'll walk you through in this session. And essentially, the focus for today is we're not here to get more views on the platform. What we want to do is we want to build a LinkedIn system that drives conversations, clients, and conversions. So, everything that I've mentioned. By the end of this session, what we want is for you guys to know about how to position yourself on the platform. So how can you attract those ideal clients? We don't want to attract everyone. We don't want to speak to everyone. We want to attract those right individuals for yourselves. And then the second part is how to build a profile that's going to bring those warm leads to your funnel, towards your content, towards your website, wherever you want them to go, because there's a certain way to position your platform, position your profile on the platform so that you can get those conversions. A lot of people will, then they don't really pay attention to this part. And because of it, they won't get the conversions. Because essentially, your LinkedIn is a funnel. You're taking individuals from one point to the next. So I'll walk you through that as well. And then the third thing is how you can build high trust content. So content is, because there's so many different pieces of content that you could create and work on. People get confused on how many times a week should I post? What should I be posting? What can I speak about? What will my audience be interested in? So I'll walk you through that as well, so that you're posting content that your audience is genuinely interested in. Because a lot of individuals, what they do on the platform is they will post content that they like. So like it might be me and I may be interested in lifestyle and I want to post about it because I love it, but it's not going to bring me any business because it doesn't actually link to my business. So that's why we want to make sure that you're posting content that's going to bring you the conversations and clients and not just the likes. There's a way to balance this as well, which I'll walk you through. And then the fourth thing is looking at engagement. You want to make sure that you're engaging with your audience and that they're connecting with you. So there's a way to do that as well. That's a bit of an overview of everything.
Right.
So
And
when I
I
look at,
think what you said was I think what you said is interesting about the content too. You mentioned in that first slide authentic content, right? Which I think is really, really important too. And I'm sure you're going to touch on, because we all know a lot of people are now generating AI content that is very, very basic. And in many cases, I'm not saying you can't use AI to do it, but it's hard to get very authentic when you're using outside tools. So I'm interested to see how much we go into that.
yeah, there's a lot of AI content on the platform, and not just LinkedIn, but social media overall. And because of it, you sound like everyone else if you're using AI content. I think it's really good when you want to generate ideas and you want to understand what's happening in the market, but you need to make it authentic to you. And the best way to do it is through storytelling. That's why I tell all of my clients, everyone that I coach, um, you need to include your stories in the content because that's your story. No one else can copy it. No one else can copy the process of what you went through. And when you share that with your audience, it's those small touch points that everything clicks for them and they connect with you. And then you don't really have any of the competition in the market. It's just you. and people just see you. Then you don't really have to compete with anyone. So, I'm going to go into that so that you guys know how to do that. But this brings me on to how I think about LinkedIn. When I speak to my clients and I'm coaching them, I tell them I think of LinkedIn like a massive jigsaw puzzle, and you've got these small pieces that you're putting together for the bigger picture. The small pieces are positioning, content, engagement, they're your DMs, your profile, the messaging, because there's so many different areas that are involved in your LinkedIn to make sure that you're bringing the right clients and opportunities towards you. I think there's a sound coming. If I think someone needs to mute.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that person. Hold on one second. All right,
Okay,
go ahead.
so as I was talking about the jigsaw puzzle, so I think of LinkedIn like that. You have to look at all of the different sections. What a lot of individuals do is they're just going to look at content, or they're just going to look at their profile, or they're just going to do a bit of commenting. But it's so much more than that. You have to look at all of the different pieces and bring them together. And that is when you'll start making money out of the platform, and your ideal clients will come towards you. So when I look at the foundations of LinkedIn and positioning, I would say that there's three core pillars. One is positioning, next is presence, and the third thing is pipeline. So when you're thinking about the platform and how you're going to position yourself on there, those are the foundations you need to focus on. Now I'm going to go into what those foundations actually are. So positioning is who you help, the problem that you solve, and why people should pick you. It's essentially how you're different to others on the platform. Because one thing I've noticed on the platform is a lot of individuals sound like everyone else, and especially with the rise of AI content and because people, they don't know how to position themselves on the platform, so they'll just put anything onto their profiles. So we want to make sure that you're super clear on who you help and the problem that you solve. Don't focus on you, focus on the audience. Focus on the solution that you're giving to them and the transformation. That's one word that I really like, transformation, because that's what your audience wants. That's why they're coming to you, because they've got a problem in their life or in their business and they want a solution for it. So you position yourself and what you're offering as the solution so that they have that transformation. That's the first part of it. The second part is your presence. So how your profile and content make people trust you. How often are you posting? How much engagement are you doing? Who are you connecting with? Are you really speaking in the DMs to individuals? So this is your whole presence on the platform. And then, of course, the third thing is pipeline. So that's the system that turns visibility into conversations, and then those conversations turn into clients. So those are the foundations that we want to focus on. So that brings me on to the first thing that I focus on with my clients when we're doing coaching. And the first thing is your profile. We wouldn't go into networking, connections, and content or engagement first. We would go into profile. So after this session, what I want all of you to do is take this feedback on board and optimize your profile. Look into what is on my profile. What do I need to put onto it? What do I need to remove? Do I need to fix up my branding? How can I look more premium to my audience? You want to look at all of those things. So I'm going to walk you through how you can optimize your profile and the different sections to focus on so that people are trusting you. With your profile, you've got so many different layers involved in it. You've got your banner, you've got your headline, even your profile picture, you've got your about section, you've got your featured section, and experience too. So we want to bring all of that together and make sure it all aligns with what your audience needs and what you're helping them with. We're not talking about yourselves, we're not talking about your story, or we're not making your profile a resume, essentially. We're making a sales page so that individuals are coming and booking in calls with you or whatever opportunities you're looking for. So the first thing is I want to go into the LinkedIn banner. I've put in a screenshot of my profile over here for you to get an idea of things. So your LinkedIn banner is this part over here. It's this visual. I want you to make sure that it aligns with your branding, and this way you will look more premium. People will recognize you through your branding. The next thing is you need to have a value proposition. So you need to have something that you give to your audience and is different to other individuals. So for me, I've used the tagline of turn LinkedIn into your number one client acquisition channel, because that's what we do for individuals that we work with. And then the second part is we've popped in social proof. So social proof is essentially your credibility. You want people to trust you, so you need to show that to them. You need to show them, like, I have the experience, you can trust me, and I will show you what I can do. So for me, what I've done is we've popped in all of these logos over here of companies that we've worked with, and we've worked with individuals from those companies. So when I have that in there, I have the credibility. And then the third thing is have a call to action in there. It can be anything, like you can ask them to message you a word, for example, message me pipeline, and then you might start a conversation with them from there. Or you can tell them you can book a one-to-one call with me through my featured section. For me, I've wrote in go to my featured section to find out how, because I want them to book a call with me so that we can speak further. There's lots of different things that you can put in there, so I would say test it out and see what's converting your audience as well. Really iterate on what you're putting in there, and then look at, okay, what's converting my audience, what isn't. Don't always keep things the same, always change things up so your audience, you're seeing what they're really interested in. So that's the LinkedIn banner. And then the second part is your headline. I always say in the headline, you want to speak to your audience's problem and outcome and add credibility. Many people like put too much into their headline and they make it confusing. We just want to keep it simple. We want to talk about how you're helping your audience, what outcome you give, and you can add in a bit of credibility. So for me, I have over here, we build LinkedIn growth systems for founders and executives. I've highlighted who the individuals are. So, you might just be helping coaches. You might only help business owners. You want to look at who is my ICP. So your ICP is your ideal client profile. You want to look at who am I helping, and I need to make it clear in my profile, because you're not here to attract everyone. You're here to attract your ideal audience. So I've done that in there. I've also mentioned I'm the founder of my company. And then we have top 20 LinkedIn branding worldwide. So that's credibility. That's my credibility I have in there. For you, it might be you've coached 150 plus founders. It might be you featured in um, some some article that is really well known. So you can pop any of that information in there. Just make sure it's not, like overloading things. Does all of that make sense so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think my biggest takeaway so far anyway is kind of what you had mentioned with the call to action and testing and testing what works. Like maybe not for everybody the book a call, call to action isn't going to work. Maybe you want to take them right into the DMs or vice versa. So I think what she said there is very important with anything we do. When we pull data and embed them into campaigns, we test. When we run ads, we test, right? So very similar there.
Exactly, exactly. And also with the CTA, the thing is, your audience is going to go on your profile and they won't know what to do next. So it's on you to direct them on what to do next. So, do you want them to go and book a call with you? Do you want them to speak to you? Do you want them to sign up to your newsletter? Whatever it is, you have to make it clear. Like to you, it might be so clear. And in your mind, you're like, oh, they just have to do this. It's simple. But you really need to look into, okay, is this clear for my audience? And what I recommend is maybe what you can do is ask one of your friends to go through your profile and check through it and ask them, is this clear, like what I'm doing? Do you understand what I'm doing? Do you understand what the next step is? And if they say to you that no, I don't know what to do next, or something isn't clear to me, then something needs to change and you need to put in the information into your profile and just tweak things so it's more clear. So that's one way of doing it. That brings me on to the featured section. So I've popped in a screenshot of my current featured section over here. What I want people to do is either book in a call with me or then for them to download my LinkedIn pipeline playbook. And then what I do from there is I take their emails and they sign up to my email newsletter if they want to come onto it. And then we are able to nurture them through my newsletter as well. So we've got an email newsletter. That is for me. For you, it might be different. So what I recommend is I've popped in a couple of options here of things that you can put into your featured section. But I'm going to say in your featured section, what a lot of people do is they're going to just pop in a couple of their pieces of content that performed well, or just any post, they'll pop it into their featured section. That's not what we want to do. Your featured section is there to basically take your audience from point A to Z so that they know what they need to do next. You need to take them away from your profile and you need to bring them on to the next stage. So I always recommend putting something in there so that they're able to do that. And then you can also pop credibility into there. So some options of things that you can put in there is case studies. You can put in testimonials or reviews that people have gave you when they've worked with you. This is really good when you want to convert your audience, because initially they're not going to trust you. So you need to build that trust with them and show them you know what you're talking about and the work that you do. And then you can also pop in lead magnets, which is what I have done. You can pop in free resources. You can add in, if you have a newsletter, then you can add in a section where they can sign up to your newsletter or book a call with you. There's many different options. I would say with your featured section, you can have 1 to 4 cards in there. I wouldn't go more than 4 because we don't want to overwhelm the audience with loads of options. Like I have 2 right now. Previously, I've had 3 as well. We have clients who normally would lean towards 2 or 3 cards. And if you don't already have your featured section set up, you can do it through, it says over here, add profile section. If you go into your profile, you'll see that section. And if you scroll down in it, you can set it up through there. Sometimes it's not already set up, you'll have to do it. So you can just add it in through there. And in that section as well, where it says add profile section, there's so many other options of things you can put into your profile too. So you can check that out as well. So that is everything for profile and profile optimization. And then just one more thing in your profile is your about section. That's something that I wanted to mention. With your about section, again, we just want to go into the pain points of the audience and the transformation. So you can have a story in there of a struggle that they might have, and then you position yourself as the solution for them, and you walk them through how you're the solution and what they need to do next. Do they book a call with you? Do they DM you a word? You can put that in there. And you can go into my LinkedIn profile and see how I've formatted it there as well. Make sure it's not chunky text, space things out so it's digestible for the audience. Same thing goes for content as well. You're not going to sit there on the platform reading chunky content, and neither are other people. So you need to make sure that you spread things out. So that brings me on to the next thing, which is content. So we want you to build a content engine. We don't want you to sit there every single day wondering, okay, what do I post next? What do I need to do? I want to share a framework with you that you can follow so that you know what content you need to be posting. And this literally applies for any industry. It doesn't matter what work you do, you're able to use this because it's just a framework that you can apply to the work that you do and the content you'd want to share. So we have the 3 core content types. The first thing is authority. Authority content is educational content or how-to content or frameworks showing your expertise. So I do this. I post 6 times a week. In there, I have different frameworks that I follow. So maybe 2 times a week, I'm going to share a storytelling post. 2 times a week, I'll share authority. And then 2 times a week, I'll share proof content. So when you have that mix in there, you're able to convert your audience much better rather than you posting stories for the whole week. What will happen is no one's going to really know what you do. So that's why you need to mix up your content. You have to show that you're the authority. That's through the authority content. That is basically what knowledge do you have that you can share with your audience. That's your authority content. And the second part is your storytelling content. That can be literally anything about you, like any lessons you've learned, any personal reflections you have behind the scenes, what's going on in your business. You can share all of that with your audience. The good thing about storytelling content is you're able to have that connection with your audience and they're there to trust you. They understand that there's a human behind this brand and they understand who I am and the struggles I have as well. And they have solved those struggles. So, they'll trust you more. And then the third thing is proof. This is the most important thing, especially when you're trying to convert your audience, because you need to show proof that you have previously done it, or you need to show some sort of results, case studies, as testimonials, so that your audience trusts you and they know that you have previously done this. So, the thing is with proof content, it doesn't perform that well. It's going to get less likes and impressions compared to storytelling content, for example. But with proof content, it brings you more conversions, more people booking in calls, more people coming in your DMs, and more of your ideal clients coming towards you. That's why I always say mix it up, have different forms of content that you're putting out to your audience. So that is everything about content, and you can follow this simple rule as well, which is the 70-30 rule, especially when you're starting out on the platform and posting regularly. This is really good for that. So 70% relatable and story-based content. This is so you build a human connection with your audience, and then 30% you can do authority and results. So that is there to build credibility with your audience. So, as I told you about my framework as well, what I do, I change it up each week because I look at the data and how many calls we're getting booked in, what is my goal. If I see that my engagement is going down or my impressions, I'll put in more storytelling content because it normally tends to get more engagement. And then if I want more conversions, I'll do more of the proof content. So don't feel restricted to just one way. You can change it up as well. That brings me on to the next step, which is engagement. So, of course, you'll have optimized your profile, you'll have done all of the content, you'll be posting regularly, but with that, you need to do a couple more things that go side by side with that. We want you to have a commenting strategy in place. This is basically where you engage with your audience. You're going to want to connect with individuals who are your ideal client. That's one group to focus on. And then the second group is you want to focus on your peers. So when I'm coaching my clients, I always tell them about these two groups, because what you want to do is you want to connect with your ideal client and comment on their content so that you're visible in front of them. And then you also want to connect with your peers, because when you do that, people will trust you in the market because they trust them. And when you're showing yourself up as well and you're coming into their content, they're replying to your comments, you're replying to their comments, you build more trust with the audience overall. So try to find people who are in the same industry as you, doing similar work to you, and they're doing it really well, they're showing it online. Go and connect with them, engage with their content, and you're going to notice your network will naturally start to grow because you'll be connecting with more individuals. People will come towards you as well, they'll send you connection requests, and you grow from there. It just snowballs from there. So with commenting, that's the first thing. I always say to my clients, before you post, sit for maybe 20-15 minutes, do a bit of commenting on your ideal clients' posts and your peers' posts for 15-20 minutes so you can warm up your feed. And after your post goes live as well, reply to comments that are on your content, and then, of course, on other individuals' posts as well. Go and comment on their content. This way, LinkedIn basically boosts your content and your profile because you're showing you're active, you're showing that you're showing up. So, I would always say it doesn't have to be the same every single day. It doesn't mean you have to do this every single day, but try to be regular with it and consistent with it so that you can build recognition with your audience. Because I've seen with a lot of people, they will get maybe 5,000 impressions on one of their posts, but through your comments, you can get like 20,000 impressions, you can get 30,000 impressions. So sometimes your comments can perform even better compared to your content. And LinkedIn recently introduced it's like a new feature where you can see how many impressions your comments have gotten as well. So you can go onto a certain comment that you left and you can see the impressions, like how many people have seen that comment that I've dropped. Through there, you can get more visibility as well, especially when you add value into that comment and you don't just pitch. So that is something that I would recommend you add in as well. And then you want to have a DM strategy in place. You want to be sending warm DMs out to your audience. So when you see someone in your network who's engaging with your content, you want to send a warm DM to them, connect with them, ask them how are they doing. If you saw maybe a comment of theirs or a post that you liked, mention it to them. And then through that, what will happen is you're gonna build that connection with your audience, and just go like the extra mile. Through there, you're going to be able to drive pipeline as well, because essentially what you'll be doing is you build that connection, you don't sound like everyone else on the platform, and you're going to be doing warm DMs rather than cold. We don't want to focus on cold DMs, we want to focus on warm DMs, because we want to show the audience that you're genuinely interested in helping rather than you sounding like everyone else in the market. Because I'm pretty sure in your DMs, you probably get loads of messages of people that are pitching to you, and you probably ignore them. You don't go and engage with them. So you want to make sure that you're cutting through the noise. So that brings me into tracking everything. So you're going to do all of this. You will have your content engine in place. You're going to have all of your commenting. You're going to be doing your DMs. But it's easy to get really stuck into it and not get results from it. So you need to regularly, I would say weekly, track which posts are performing well, which posts are bringing profile views. So individuals who are your ideal clients, are they going onto your profile? For that, I also recommend you purchase, if you don't have it already, get LinkedIn Premium, because through LinkedIn Premium, you can see everyone who's viewed your profile, and then you can check through it. And if anyone seems like an ideal client for you, you can just send them a warm DM and start a conversation from there. So that's a way that you can get even better deals as well. Also, look at which DMs lead to calls when you're speaking to individuals, which messages actually lead to calls. And then you want to refine based on what brings results. Also look at your analytics, including engagements. Impressions is something we can't really control that much, because the algorithm really controls that. So I would say focus more on engagements. Look at who's coming towards my content. Are they fitting into my ideal client profile? If not, something needs to change. So in terms of tracking everything, I would say you need to be doing that. And then also, if you want to go the extra mile, get Sales Navigator as well. You might have heard of that as well. So if you've got LinkedIn Premium, you got Sales Navigator as well. I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of Sales Navigator as well. So I use it to find my ideal clients. And the good thing with Sales Navigator is you've got so much detail to it. Like you can search up the industry individuals are from, you can look at the geography as well. So which countries are they from, the company headcount. You can look at, are they a first degree connection? Are you connected already? If not, you can go and connect with them too. So I recommend that in the long run, especially if you have a business and you're wanting more opportunities through the platform, get Sales Navigator, because it will really help you. And the good thing is, like, you actually come across profiles that are active through using Sales Navigator rather than the normal search bar on LinkedIn. So that's something I recommend that you guys purchase. So that is everything I want to go through with you all today. And if you ever need like further support with your LinkedIn, pop a message to me on LinkedIn, connect with me, or then you can go to our website or pop me an email, and I'd be happy to help you with LinkedIn. We provide coaching, and also we provide services where we basically grow your personal brand for you. So if you ever need any help, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, that brings me on to the Q&A. If any of you have questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, there's been a couple already in the chat, and one that you were just kind of hitting on. Maybe you can go in a little more depth, but where was it? Hold on, let me go back. So yeah, that it was Tamara's question, and at first she was saying you were talking about premium, right? LinkedIn Premium, and she asked, "Do you like premium over Sales Navigator?" Then you also mentioned Sales Navigator, so she went on to comment you recommend both Sales Nav and Premium. Talk about the differences, why both, why one or the other. Just touch on that a little. I think that'd be helpful for people.
So what I would recommend is actually just get Sales Navigator, because with Sales Navigator you also get all of the premium features. features and access as well. So if you just get Sales Navigator, you'll have access to everything. It kind of all comes together. So just get Sales Navigator, and through there, you've got lots of different options. You've got more features that open up for your LinkedIn as well. You can see profile views. You got in-mails as well. And then through Sales Navigator, you can create lead lists too. So options are endless, especially when you run a business.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. That makes sense. One of the earlier questions that Ed had, when you were going through your profile and you were talking about some of the logos you put in your banner about companies you worked with or people, he was asking, do you get their permission? Do you need it? Now, I think I know the answer to this, but I'd rather hear your thoughts on it first, Aisha.
Yeah, so with that, it depends on your client. So like I've worked with individuals from these companies and we've agreed like it's fine. If you feel free to get permission from those individuals and ask them if, if it's okay that I mention you guys on my credibility, if I can share this with my audience. And then, you can go from there. But it's really, really good that you seek out for it and bring that credibility onto your profile because in the long run, it's really going to help you.
Okay. No, that's great. That's great. So from your case, I think you had Visa, Forbes, things like that. You didn't go get permission from those brands, did you, per se?
No, we didn't, because we worked with individuals from those companies.
Got it. Got it. And that kind of goes to my point and what I was thinking. Do you need to get permission or ask permission? I don't believe so. Especially when we were working with, as Aisha said, individuals and saying, I've worked with founders from these companies. I don't think you necessarily need the company's permission.
Hmm.
And even if you, I've plugged high profile clients and enterprise brands on proof posts, on calls to action, on things to build credibility and authority in the past. I can't remember once that I've ever reached out and asked them if I could do it because by them working with me and paying me to work with them, that was already kind of giving me permission to say that. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I look at it personally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. What else? Does anybody else have any specific questions? And a couple of things, I'll go back to those and I'll just read through them. If there's, but what one thing that I thought you pointed out that was fascinating, and I do a similar thing on Facebook, and I used to even more so when like my organic outreach was one of my premium or prime, acquisition channels. I still do some organic, but it's not like the number one thing for me as it was a few years ago. But I loved how you talked about going in and engaging and commenting on other people's posts and kind of warming up your profile before you go to post your content for the day and then a little bit after. What you're saying there, Aisha, is that's kind of a bit of an algorithm hack within LinkedIn itself that's going to, get your content probably shown more. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Yeah, essentially, because you're showing up on the feed more. You're showing up in front of your audience more. You're showing that you're active. And I think another thing I'd mention is a lot of you might be too busy for LinkedIn and it's really hard to manage it. So you can also bring in virtual assistants or anyone to help you with managing this area where, because with my commenting, for example, on one of my posts, I get hundreds of comments. I can't sit there replying to them all the time. I don't have the time to do that. And it's not really good for me to sit there and do that because I've got other processes in the business that I should be focusing on. So you can bring in VAs that can help you with that. And if there's anything that comes up, they can flag it to you as well. But when you've built a good connection and they understand your tone of voice, they can help you out with that too. Because a lot of the individuals that you actually see on the platform who have massive personal brands, they don't essentially manage all of them themselves because it's a lot. There's loads of things that are involved in it.
Got it. Got it. Another question here in the chat for you from Jen. Do you recommend Dripify or Octopus or Expand or anything like that for expanding your outreach on LinkedIn?
I haven't come across any of those tools, but there was a question about Chrome extensions because I'm guessing all of these are Chrome extensions and automation tools. So LinkedIn have gotten really, really strict in regards to extensions and automation tools. So for my recommendation, I would say try to stay away from them because we don't want your profile to be banned. And I've seen this happen with many, many profiles. Even the tools that we use for our clients, they don't essentially connect with the profile. They're still like they're not connected together with the profile, but you can still use the tool. So I would say if you are going to use a tool, try to find one that doesn't directly connect with your profile. Because if LinkedIn flagged that and they notice it, they will most probably ban your profile as well. They will restrict you, and I've seen it happen with many people. There are many good tools as well on the platform. Like Magic Post is one of them. There's Taplio, there's Orthodop. Um, what's another one? There's Valley that I've come across that recently that helps you with in-mails and outreach as well. So if you want to do some of that stuff too. The thing is, with LinkedIn, one of the reasons why they'll flag your profile is if you're doing too much. If you're like sending like hundreds and hundreds of connection requests per day, or hundreds of comments and DMs per day, and if they notice that something is abnormal, then you can be banned. So I'd just be careful in regards to that. But if you're keeping things normal, it's totally fine.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. And yeah, that's a great question, Jen. I was reading that one actually, Aisha, right before the Chrome question. So that was the next one, and you kind of tied those both into one, which is great. I was actually on a call yesterday with another business owner who has a great software that runs hand in hand and is kind of a LinkedIn outreach tool. So speaking on that, Jen, or anybody else that had questions, I'm going to have some stuff coming soon on this particular software, and this guy might come in and do a little workshop and show you exactly how it works. I actually know a few of our Audience Lab clients that pay for this specific LinkedIn software that are crushing it. Brandon Collins being one of them. You see him posting a lot in our Wins channel with LinkedIn outreach. He's actually using this particular software. And I got a connection and introduction to the business owner, and he and I spoke for like 50 minutes yesterday. So I'll have some content and some stuff coming. I don't want to dive too much into that because I've only had one conversation with the guy and I've only seen a 20-minute demo myself. I want a little better understanding and to see some more accounts that it's worked in before I bring it to you guys. But yeah, that's something else very interesting, and something that tool was more about maximizing your engagement and replying to conversations and doing so in a way where you can automatically, do 50 outreach requests and 50 DMs per day and have it just reply to you and only flag your conversations where people are kind of raising their hands saying, yes, Ray, I want more information. Yes, Ray, I want to see how you did that. Right. And so anyway, I'll have some stuff coming down the pike on that. Now, Jaden had typed in the chat, have you ever used outreach bots such as Phantom Buster, for instance? What should we know considering that approach if you're familiar with any of that, Ayesha?
So I haven't heard of Phantom Buster, but I do know about a lot of outreach tools. I would say try to stay away from bots, but you can still have tools that aren't directly connected with LinkedIn. So like Value was one of the ones that I recommended. I think Salesflow, if you're looking for a cheaper option, Salesflow is another one. And you can use these tools to do outreach and they do it for you. You've got that main message that you share with your audience and they do that for you. So, really make use out of the AI tools that are out there because they're going to help you in the process as well. So you can test them out. Just if you're going to use a tool, try to ask individuals in your audience or individuals who are really familiar with LinkedIn if they have previously used it and if they would recommend it. Also, if you want, you can even directly ask the company, like, are you directly connected to the platform? Will you directly connect to my profile, or what is the system? Just to make sure you're on the safer side of things.
Gotcha, gotcha. I'm going to get to a couple more questions in the chat, but kind of piggybacking off the DM conversations and something Aisha touched on throughout this presentation was she was like, you guys probably have a lot of messages in your inbox that you never replied to, or you ghost, or whatever. And we all know, I think LinkedIn is probably more more direct at this than some other social media platforms where people are just kind of pitching you right off the bat and going right into hard calls to action or trying to get you to book a call without ever having any engagement or knowing one another. I personally don't like that approach at all. I never do direct outreach with, hey, Ed, I know nothing about you. I saw your profile. I know you want to buy my stuff. Book a call. Like I would never do that. And my kind of tip there, guys, is anything that kind of rubs you the wrong way, that gives you a yuck feeling, right? That you don't reply to, make sure you're not mimicking that messaging, right? And then also on the flip side of things, what about good messaging that you did engage with, that you did respond to? People are already showing us the frameworks of what's working on the platform. So just be mindful of that. A lot of people overthink this process of like, how should I DM or what should I do? What applies to you? What is appealing to you? What do you reply to? I almost guarantee you that same type of structured content and messaging is what other people are also going to reply to. And same thing on the other end of the spectrum. What's yuck? What's standoffish? What don't I like? Well, I better not be mimicking that because there's a lot of people that hate certain messaging and then they also deploy that messaging themselves. To me, that makes no sense whatsoever. So that's just a little hack for any social media platform. What type of messaging and outreach do you actually reply to and engage with, and what is very standoffish? And then that's kind of how you should model, forging your messaging and your content. Anything you'd like to add to that, Aisha?
Yeah, totally. I agree with that 100%. And it brings me on to an example of a message someone sent to me a while ago. So we were talking casually in the DMs. She started off with being warm, of course, asking how I am, what work I do, like the casual questions you can ask individuals in the DMs. She started off with that. And then she mentioned she noticed there was an issue with like my newsletter, and there were a couple of things that she pointed out, and then she gave a recommendation about me developing a course. So the thing is, she didn't like point out the issues. She sent me a Loom video that she recorded, personalized just to me, and she told me like, this is what I would fix, this is what I can help you with. And I was so impressed with that because she put so much effort into making sure that it was just for me and it was personalized for me. She understood all of the issues and the pain points as well. And then I went forwards and I worked with her. I literally didn't look at anyone else.
Yep.
I just chose
No,
her as the only option because she's, not everyone sends a Loom video in the DMs. Not everyone puts that amount of effort and detail into it. And when you do that, you're able to stand out.
yeah, I agree. Actually, I've had some people I've hired and brought into my team. Some people I've worked with are people that have gone through my content, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, my funnel, and kind of funnel hacked it and gave me solutions or showed me gaps in the process, and then did exactly what you said. They took the time to create a Loom and said, "Hey, Ray, if you change this and this, I almost guarantee you that this would work smoother." And I was like, "Shit, this guy's right. That makes total sense, right?" And that's a good thing. So I know we have people on this call, and I know a few of you guys that are kind of like funnel hackers. And again, funnel hacker doesn't always mean you're going through somebody's actual sales funnel and clicking on their landing page. You can funnel hack a profile. You can funnel hack somebody's sales script. You can funnel hack or reverse engineer damn near anything. I think that's just a phrase we commonly use for it now. But yeah, when you can do that and kind of add value and show people gaps in their process or holes in their process, they're going to be very open to hearing that and hearing about the solution to that, right? So great point. Yeah, that's a great addition to what I was just saying. I couldn't agree with you more. Miguel had asked, you had mentioned virtual assistants here, Aisha. Regarding virtual assistants, as you manage a lot of profiles, how do you safely manage them without being flagged? Like, what strategies would you recommend when it comes to accessing and managing multiple profiles? Is it multi-login, unique proxies, user browser profiles, etc.?
So, one of the parts of our service that we offer to clients is we do commenting management for them. We basically manage their whole profile, and we've worked with like 150 plus people, and at once we've worked with like 30, 40 plus people. So through there you have lots of login accesses, you've got loads of people that are trying to manage everything. But what we do is we try to limit it to two or three individuals that have access to one profile. So we'll have like one person doing the engagement, and then of course yourself, you would have the access. That way, like LinkedIn don't flag it. They really don't flag it. We've never seen a client profile that's had an issue. Um, but just make sure the individual who's logging in, you can trust them. Don't like directly share passwords. There's tools that you can use like LastPass. I'm pretty sure there's the ones as well where you can share logins, and then through there they can log in and manage your profile. Just make sure it's not like crazy stuff. You're not doing too much on there. Just make sure that you're not attaching any tools and things. As long as everything is okay, you shouldn't be flagged. It should be okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. All about the warming up. Don't send 1,000 connection requests day one. Yeah, that's certainly a tip. And a lot of people try to do that. A lot of people like, oh, I just optimized my profile. I'm ready to go on LinkedIn and gear up, and they overdo it, right? It should be a steady incline, especially if you're just getting back into LinkedIn or you're just starting off a new account, or just for me, I had mentioned at the top of this workshop today that I'm actually going to be revamping and I've been very bad at using LinkedIn personally. I think I could have done a lot more with it in the last few years. Many of you guys that know me know I've had a lot of success with Facebook messaging, Facebook organic. I made my first $1 million on Facebook, so I didn't really look at alternate platforms too much, which was myself kind of putting my blinders and restrictions on myself, especially with how much I do in B2B. I should be way more active on LinkedIn. My profile should be way better optimized. I should have way more followers. And that's something I'm actually making a focus here to close out 25 and going into 26. And once I knew you were coming on about a month ago, Ayesha, when you and I first discussed this, I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till that workshop and just get some tips from her before I really dive into this. Although I have a pretty good understanding about Facebook, I'm sorry, LinkedIn profile optimization. I don't think I need a ton of help with that. I did grab a couple tips here though that I wouldn't have done or known today. So thank you for that. But I wanted to understand more about the content, what works here, because I got Facebook down pretty well, but Facebook and LinkedIn are totally different worlds in terms of the algorithm, what content converts. You got to know the platform that you're on and what works on that platform very well. I guarantee I couldn't take three-quarters of the posts that I get engagement or get results on Facebook and bring them over to LinkedIn. I would see nowhere near that type of success or results, and vice versa. My LinkedIn content wouldn't perform, quite as good on Facebook. I'm almost certain. So I think that's always really important. Um, Eddie, you had typed in there, I've used Hippo Video when sending emails to clients. Many have told me that they have never had anyone do that. So it stands out. Yeah, that's another great benefit. And as you mentioned, I have a higher open rate. So it's also great for trying to reach someone who has been difficult to reach. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Those are all good points. All good points. Cool. I don't see any other questions in the chat, and we timed it pretty good. We're right at the last 5 minutes or so of the presentation. So, guys, I think everybody here today, and I have my own, yeah, it's chicken scratch notes, but I have my own notes on what I took out of this presentation, what I'm going to go implement literally either before the end of the week or next week when I kind of dedicate my time. I'm hoping everybody had jotted down at least two or three little takeaways at minimum that you can go implement today because whether I'm running a workshop and dropping the value, whether it's Ayesha, anybody that's done good at something and better than where we're at right now, we should always take their advice and don't just attend these workshops to gather info and store in your head for some rainy day. Attend these workshops to pick out what are the two or three things that were top applicable to me that I'm going to go implement and apply into my business today. I know I have a few of those for myself. And then on top of that, Aisha, is there anything you want to drop in the chat if anyone wants to get a hold of you, maybe work with you closer, maybe pick your brain on a one-on-one session, maybe be coached by you to be a better LinkedIn pro? How do they get a hold of you? Is there anything you want to give them in terms of next steps if anybody here is interested in reaching you further?
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put my LinkedIn profile into the chat. So if you guys want to connect with me, put me a message, or you can just directly through there go to my featured section and book a call with me, and then we can go from there.
Excellent, excellent. So I certainly love what you're doing there, and you know, guys, I mean, if you don't make the connection there, a LinkedIn expert telling you the best way to connect with me is reach out through LinkedIn. Like that's it's so easy. Sometimes a lot of people like overthink this stuff. Yeah, come and book a call, or here's my booking link. No, like what I teach and what I do, that's where I want you to connect with me, and I want you to actually follow me and see the proof. See my profile, see that I'm not BSing you here, and I do have 74,000 followers. Like call me out, look me up on that stuff, right? And I think something else that I took away here that I've kind of always done, but I just want to reiterate to anybody watching or viewing here today, or maybe on the replay, whatever. But like, number one, when she was talking about the about section of your profile, which is certainly relevant, she's like, hey, go look at mine and how it's set up. And she's kind of showing you use my about section and how I've had success as your template. Do I copy and paste it and do the same, messaging? Hell no, it's going to be way different. But the template and the framework is there and the structure. That as well as she mentioned, connecting with other people that are in your niche, your industry, that are further along than you, that are doing better, that are getting more engagement. By connecting with those people, I go back and look at what's different about their profile. Why is this guy getting 2 or 3x the followers of me? And usually I can find something. Oh, he did this. I didn't try that. Something I can mix into my profile. So use other successful people in your niche, in your industry, check out their profiles and go through them and take away what they're doing that you're not, and then test it in your profile. Going back to one of the earlier, notes, be testing things with call to action, be testing things with how your profile's optimized, tweak it. And once you have something that's a totally finished product, you'll find that you very, very rarely have to go in and revamp things other than, you might change your call to action. You might go change what's in your featured section. You might put out a new lead magnet or something, little updates. But once you have a winning formula, it's usually going to stick for quite a while. Cool.
Totally,
That's
I
all
agree
I
with
have
that.
for today. I don't see any other questions here. And Ayesha, did you have any final thoughts or final takeaways you'd love to leave everybody with before we part ways here today?
I think that's really it. I mean, I hope you guys found it valuable. And if you ever need further help with LinkedIn, I'm on the platform. Go follow me. I always share content and advice. And if you ever want to have a chat with me, book a call with me. But I hope you guys found it valuable.
Awesome. So Ed, you said you have a question there. Go ahead, just unmute and ask. It's easier than me reading. Go ahead, unmute and ask real quick before we round out here, Ed.
Sure. Hey, hi, it's great stuff here. Thank you so much for all of this. And my quick question for you is, as I'm marketing my brand, I love what you're saying about LinkedIn. Is it enough to focus on the LinkedIn profile and the branding inside of LinkedIn, or should I also be focusing on other social platforms and even a website as well? Like, do I really want to hit all of those areas, or is it enough to say, you know what, just stick with LinkedIn? You're doing B2B anyway. Is that enough? What would your recommendation be there?
Okay, so I would look at where's your audience. If you're targeting B2B founders, for example, a lot of them will be on LinkedIn. So focus on the platform where most of your audience is. So, for example, if that's LinkedIn for you, focus on that. But also, you need to have a strong funnel in place. So, I would recommend either have a landing page or a website in place as well with that, so that people can go onto there and they can see a broader idea of what you do, get a bit more information, because with your profile, there's only so much you can put on there. So I would recommend have some sort of a landing page or website there too that's connected so they can go visit as well. Like on my profile, I also give people the option to go to the website too because we've got so much more in there.
I think that's a great answer. I would have answered it almost exclusively the same. Let's get to one last question here that just came in. And I know how I think about this on Facebook. My answer would be no to you, Andrew, but I'm curious what Aisha says about LinkedIn. Andrew asked, what about a LinkedIn company page? Is that important?
Okay, so it's an interesting question because it's different for everyone. If you are an individual who's like just a coach or doing one thing, I would say the first point is to focus on your personal brand. Whoever you are, just focus on the personal brand, and then the company page, it should come after that. But if you're partnering both of them together, that's the best thing. Like putting both of them together, I would say, if you're able to do that, focus on that. But the first thing is your personal brand. Why? Because you're able to build more trust with your audience. People see you, they see the face of the company or the brand. So if you want more conversions, go with your personal brand on LinkedIn, your personal page, because you also get more reach through that as well. You will notice if you put a post out on your company page, it might get like 500 impressions. If you put a post out on your personal page, that might get 5,000 impressions, so like 10 times the amount. And through there, you'll get more reach. So it depends. That's what I'd say.
Basically, the answer to that is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Is it worth setting all that up to get 1/10 the impressions that you're going to get from your personal profile anyway, right? Lastly, we'll get to this. Georgetta actually typed it in there twice, and I think we talked about these a little. But personally, Aisha, do you use automations on LinkedIn, and which tools or which automations are your top go-to, if so?
I don't use any automations because a lot of them LinkedIn flag them, but I use tools outside of LinkedIn. So a couple of them I mentioned them like Magic Post, we got Taplio, got Authored Up as well that helps with content, and then you have Valley, Salesforce. There's a bunch of other tools that you can use. I just use them externally to LinkedIn so that they just make the process easier. And then you've got like ChatGPT, you've got other tools as well. So whichever ones you can leverage, use them. But yeah.
So you wouldn't say for you, not yes to specific LinkedIn automations, but you use tools outside that you use for your LinkedIn, growth and
Yeah,
profile.
yeah,
Exactly. No, that makes tons of sense. That makes tons of sense. All right, guys, I got to cut it off here where we're just past the hour mark. Again, Aisha, thank you so much for your time. Everybody, before you hop off, if you haven't already, either click on or copy and paste Aisha's LinkedIn profile so you can reach out to her, follow her, and stay in contact. She's a very nice person. Her and I met, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago. We have great, pleasant conversations each week via email, DM, etc. And she's always happy to share what she knows. So great individual here. Thank you again, Aisha, and thanks to everybody for attending. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.